my parents were physically abusive. And I actually, not my first ex-husband, but my second one was physically abusive as well. He eventually became physically abusive mentally and verbally, I mean, emotionally. And honestly, I think in our pre-interview, I was speaking on how I would rather be physically abused than mentally abused because to get that out of your headspace is very hard to a hard trauma to recover from. When you get told something about yourself every day for years and years, you eventually start to believe it. So it was very challenging, a lot of therapy, a lot of self awareness, but it's doable and you can survive and get over it and choose to become positive and have a
What
positive outcome in life.
What do you mean when you say it started in your childhood, in your household? What do you mean by that?
So, my dad was abused alcohol and drugs, and so my mom, like just core memories of things like that. So my dad, I remember like when I was in kindergarten. He hit me because he said I talked back to my mom, and I had bruises, like, all the way from my buttocks all the way to the top of my kneecaps, and, you raise your hand to tell the teacher because they ask you, "Has anybody ever done anything?" And I showed her, and so when they got questioned about it, he was just like, "Don't you ever tell anybody I ever did that again." That's just, like, a core memory, just to put it lightly, not to go too far into that. Just, I believe in corporal punishment to an extent, not to an abusive extent, but I did do use that my child when he was younger, but in a healthy way, but it wasn't always the greatest for me. So
How
that was
long
something
was
that I didn't endure.
how long did this endure? How long were you enduring this? And more importantly,
My
like
whole life.
what did your mom's what did how did were you close to your mom and what did your mom do about it? Or was this kind of like
My mom was mainly the one. My dad did too, but my dad would encourage my mom to whip me, like, "Oh, make her listen," and all this stuff. And so I guess to appease my father, she would, you know,
who did you have
I remember one time she hit me across, she took a belt with the belt buckle and hit me across. I had a whelp across the lower part of my back. My papa was like my person and he was my savior. I remember him, very much. I'd run to their
what
house because my grandparents lived next door. So I would run over there and lock the door to get away from it until one of them came home to like help me. So
where were the child services? Child's advocate. You went to school. I mean, usually that opens up a case in the school system to watch out for this behavior pattern or these bruises again. Were you ever like targeted with the system where they had to basically where they were watching you, quote unquote, but not watching you?
so my family was very much a public family. And we just handle it in house, if you will. Italians as well. We don't talk about it. My papa literally was my savior. Like I said, he would leave the back door open and I would run over there and um I would lock the door until he got home from work and he would fuss at my mom or whatever and stuff like that. But or my her sister, my nanny would, but they didn't want things to be known. So it was swept under the rug.
Why didn't your pawpaw intervene if he
He did
knew that this corporate
when he was there, but he wasn't always there.
so it never ended? What was your next move? Because usually when this happens to individuals, they clearly want to grow up early or they do adult things like get married, wind up getting pregnant. They do what it's called
Got married.
survival. So you got married to escape it.
I, I didn't get married to escape it. I was very much in love with my ex-husband and I mean, it's everything I wanted, but yeah, like I did get married at 19. Just I was in pre-med and had my son. I was always an overachiever. I felt I was I was in everything, dance, cheer, softball, hunt, fish, everything. I tried to excel at everything I did because it was I didn't realize at the time, but it was just a way to I wanted my parents' love and affection and approval so much that I just tried to be good at everything I did. And, like girl, you gotta go to therapy to realize that. You gotta go, yeah, you gotta get help for that. And now I realize that. But growing up, I just, I did pageants, academic, excelled in academics. I was in every club. I did everything just to make them proud of me.